In 2022, a small research plane dragged a laser scanner across a remote stretch of the Ecuadorian Amazon, threading through storm clouds over a region so dense with vegetation that sunlight barely touches the forest floor. The technology aboard, LiDAR, light detection and ranging, fired over 1 billion laser pulses per second downward to the canopy, mapping whatever lay beneath. What it found stopped the scientists cold. Hidden beneath millions of trees, invisible to satellites, untouched by machetes, was a city. Not a village, not a ceremonial site. A fully engineered urban landscape stretching across more than 300 square kilometers, larger than Manhattan, complete with roads, plazas, irrigation systems, and what appear to be monumental platforms stacked in deliberate, geometric precision. The jungle had swallowed it whole. And nobody, not a single historian, explorer, or anthropologist, had any credible explanation for who built it. The civilization that constructed this place is not in any textbook. Their name has never been spoken aloud by living memory. So who were they? Here is what makes this discovery genuinely unsettling. The Amazon has long been dismissed as a place where complex civilizations simply could not exist. For decades, the dominant theory in archaeology held that the jungle's nutrient-poor soils, relentless humidity, and chaotic ecosystem made large-scale urban development impossible. The Amazon, scientists insisted, was a green desert, vast, beautiful, and fundamentally empty of the kind of organized human society that could build cities. That belief shaped everything. It shaped which sites got excavated and which got ignored. It shaped where research funding went. It shaped what was considered possible. And it meant that when explorers occasionally found suspicious earthworks or geometric clearings deep in the jungle, those discoveries were quietly filed away as anomalies, outliers, mistakes. The LiDAR scans of 2022, published in the journal Science by a team led by archaeologist Stephen Restain and remote sensing specialist Antoine Dorison, didn't just find one anomaly. They found a civilization hiding in plain sight beneath the world's largest rainforest. To understand the magnitude of this discovery, travel back 500 years. When Spanish explorers first pushed into South America in the early 1500s, they were chasing legends, specifically the legend of El Dorado, a city of gold said to lie somewhere beyond the Andean foothills. A soldier named Francisco de Orellana descended the Amazon River in 1542 and returned to Spain with stories that seemed designed to embarrass him. Vast cities along the riverbanks, thousands of canoes, fields stretching for miles, populations numbering in the hundreds of thousands. His contemporaries laughed. His accounts were labeled hallucinations, colonial exaggeration, the delirious fever dreams of a man undone by tropical heat. The Amazon was too wild, too hostile, too inhospitable for civilization. His journals were shelved. The cities he described, if they existed at all, were never found. And for the next 4 centuries, Orellana's Amazon was erased from the official story of human history. What LiDAR has revealed is that Francisco de Orellana was not lying. LiDAR works on a principle almost absurdly simple in concept, yet staggering in execution. A sensor mounted on an aircraft or drone emits rapid pulses of near-infrared laser light, in modern systems up to 1.5 million pulses per second, and measures the precise time it takes for each pulse to return after bouncing off a surface. Since the speed of light is constant, that return time translates into an exact distance measurement accurate to within centimeters. The genius of LiDAR in a jungle environment is that those billions of pulses don't all hit the canopy. A small percentage slip through gaps between leaves, between branches, between layers of undergrowth, all the way to the bare ground beneath. Software then filters out every return that came from vegetation, the leaves, the trees, the roots, and reconstructs only the returns from the solid ground surface below. What emerges in ghostly wireframe clarity is the bare topography of the Earth, as it would look if the jungle had never existed. In the Ecuadorian scan, that bare topography revealed something that does not occur in nature. Perfectly straight roads, dozens of kilometers long, connecting elevated platforms to each other in a deliberate radial pattern, Rectangular plazas, clearly engineered, precisely flat on terrain that should be anything but. A network of agricultural terraces scaling hillsides with uniform 6-meter step increments. And at the center of it all, a dense urban core with what the research team identified as at least 6,000 individual structures. The mathematics alone are staggering. Building that infrastructure would have required coordinated labor across generations. It would have demanded centralized governance, an agricultural surplus, a system of communication, a shared cultural vision. You cannot build 300 square kilometers of engineered urban landscape by accident. The discovery did not happen in a single dramatic instant. It happened at a desk, in the blue glow of a monitor, on an ordinary afternoon in France. Antoine Dorison was processing raw point cloud data from the survey flights. Tedious, methodical work that involves filtering billions of data points through specialized software. The filtered image renders slowly, column by column, the jungle dissolving from the screen like a fog lifting. And then the lines appeared. Straight lines do not exist in nature. Random erosion does not produce parallel ridgelines separated by precise intervals. Water does not carve rectangular platforms or build circular mounds in deliberate patterns. Dorison reportedly stared at his screen for a long moment before calling Stephen Rustain into the room. When Rustain arrived and saw the image, the roads, the platforms, the sheer scale of the footprint, he reportedly said nothing for several seconds. The room was very quiet. The weight of what they were looking at was the weight of a civilization that history had simply chosen not to remember. The site, located in the Upano Valley of eastern Ecuador, had actually been the subject of limited ground surveys since the 1990s, led by Rustain himself. Archaeologists had found pottery and earthworks, and carbon dating placed human occupation of the region as early as 500 BCE, nearly 2,500 DCE. But the full scope of the urban network had been invisible until the laser stripped away the canopy. The civilization responsible is tentatively associated with the Kalamopi and Upano peoples, pre-Columbian cultures that flourished in the upper Amazon for roughly 1,000 years. But their urban sophistication, the density of their construction, the ambition of their road network, the engineering of their agricultural systems, is orders of magnitude beyond what any existing scholarship had anticipated. The Upano Valley is not alone. Since the development of airborne LiDAR surveys in jungle environments, researchers have uncovered a staggering catalog of hidden urban sites across the Americas. In 2018, a LiDAR survey of northern Guatemala revealed that the ancient Maya lowlands contained at least 60,000 previously unknown structures, including elevated highways connecting cities over 100 kilometers apart. In Bolivia's Llanos de Mojos, researchers identified a network of pre-Columbian towns connected by perfectly engineered causeways, all invisible from the ground. In Brazil, geometric earthworks called geoglyphs, some over 200 meters across, have been found beneath deforested sections of the western Amazon, suggesting organized settlement across an area the size of France. The pattern is unmistakable. The Amazon was not empty, it was full. It housed millions of people, complex societies, and engineering traditions whose sophistication rivals anything the ancient world produced in Egypt, Mesopotamia, or China. The difference is that the jungle does not preserve monuments the way desert does. Organic material rots. Stone gets reclaimed by roots. And without written records, or with records that were destroyed or never translated, entire civilizations can vanish without leaving so much as a legend behind. These cities matter not merely as archaeological curiosities. They matter because the people who built them solved a problem humanity is still failing to solve: how to sustain a large, complex civilization inside a living ecosystem without destroying it. The agriculture of the Upano peoples was not slash-and-burn devastation. Their terraced hillsides and managed waterways suggest a system of cultivation designed to work with the forest, not against it. Their city did not replace the jungle, it coexisted with it. For over 1,000 years, the Amazon today is vanishing at a rate of approximately 10,000 square kilometers per year to deforestation. The very jungle that buried and preserved these cities for 2 millennia is being stripped away faster than science can document what lies beneath it. Every hectare cleared is a potential erasure, not just of biodiversity, but of history, of knowledge, of answers to questions we haven't even thought to ask yet. Somewhere beneath the remaining canopy, there are almost certainly more cities, more roads, more civilizations whose names we don't know and whose stories we have never heard. The lasers are finding them now, one scan at a time, one ghostly wireframe emerging from the noise of a billion data points. Francisco de Orellana saw them from the river, and nobody believed him. For 500 years, his cities waited in the dark. They were always there. We just didn't know how to look. If entire civilizations can vanish so completely that the world forgets they existed, what does that say about the permanence of our own? If this story made you see the world differently, subscribe, because there are dozens more buried cities out there and the lasers are just getting started.